Here's our
Okay.
seminar today. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Jean-Pierre Francois from Sorbonne University to give a talk on our seminar today. He's the expert in dynamical system and mathematical physics, and only recently in the 2 years ago, he began turn his interest to information geometry, where I met him in the conference on information, geometric science of information in Toulouse, right? That is just begin to study information geometry. And then today, he should give a talk on the his new lesson is together with Professor Tarama Daisuke on information geometry and Hamilton system on Lie group. So please.
Okay, thank you very much, Van. It's a great pleasure for me to speak in your seminar, which is quite famous. This is, as you said, joint work with Daisuke Tarama. He's a professor in Ritsumeikan University in Japan. Okay, so let me start with the introduction. So the link between Hamiltonian integrable system and information geometry was discovered in the 90s by Amari, Fujiwara, and Nakamura. And in particular, Nakamura succeeded to define the tau function for the open tau lattice by using information geometry. And I will give you at the end of the talk the references, more precise, but I would add that in this definition of tau function, this was also done with the collaboration with Kodama. Until now, as far as I know, the tau function has not, for the tau lattice, you know that it is a very important theory which was first defined by Sato for infinite dimensional integrable systems like KdV equation and KP equation. But until now, it is the only paper that I know where this tau function has been introduced by for the open tau lattice. So, as Van said, we met in Les Houches School of Physics in 2020, and I proposed a similar approach for the Picon system. So I don't explain in details, of course, but let me tell you just to recall that there is another integrable PDE system, which is very important, in particular for application in hydrodynamics, which is Kamasa-Holm equation. And they display solitonic solutions which are not C1, they have peak. And this is why they are called Picon systems. And using previous contributions, very nice, beautiful contributions of Beals, Sattinger, and Smichelski, then I was able to show that the Picon system is linked with the Amari-Shentsov information geometry on a finite set. And for me, the best reference for this topic is the book, recent book by Jürgen Jost, Ong Van Lee, and Schwarzhofer Lawrence, Information Geometry 2017. So more recently, Daisuke Tarama and myself proposed a more general study of Hamiltonian system, which are related with information geometry on Lie groups. So the Fisher-Rao semi-definite metric, in general, it is semi-definite only, but for interesting case, it is definite, is naturally induced as a left invariant metric on the Lie group. And the Lie group is regarded as the parameter space of the family of probability density functions. So for a specific choice of this family of probability density functions on compact semi-simple Lie group, the equation and for the geodesic flow can be derived through the Euler-Poincaré reduction. And certain perspectives are mentioned about the geodesics equation on the basis of its similarity with the double bracket equation and with Euler-Arnold equation for generalized free rigid body dynamics. So let me enter a little bit more in the setting for our approach. So for a statistical model, the Fisher-Rao metric is naturally defined on the parameter space for a family of probability density functions on the sample space. In information geometry, many important theoretical approaches have been developed, starting from the Fisher-Rao metric, as well as Amari-Shentsov cubic tensor, but I will not talk here in this talk on this very important cubic tensor. So from the viewpoint of differential geometry, these notions are understood as a theory of dual connections and statistical manifolds. With the structure of a dual connection, you have families of connections and geodesic flows which are associated, and they are respectively called alpha connections and alpha geodesics. In the case of dually flat structures, particularly many researchers have been done both in pure and applied mathematics. So a differential geometric theory in this direction is formulated also as the Hessian geometry, and I refer to the book of Shima, and where this approach is developed in the spirit of this Hessian geometry are a real version, in some sense, of Kähler manifolds for the complex. Okay, so in the theory of dynamical systems, one of the fundamental problem for fundamental example is to investigate the dynamical behavior of the geodesic flows, such as complete integrability, or at the opposite, ergodicity, which means that you have dense orbits on the energy surface. For the geodesic flows appearing in information geometry, the E geodesics and the M geodesics for finite sample space are particularly well known. They are well known in their relation with, for instance, with theoretical biology and what is called I forgot the name of dynamics associated with biological evolutions of systems, evolutionary systems. Sorry, I forgot the name, evolutionary. Or okay, the relations between information geometry and completely integrable systems have been studied by Nakamura, as I just said, but now it is well known and found also in textbooks. However, further studies are still possible in these directions and may result in discoveries of interesting dynamical phenomena. And we propose one approach in this talk. Okay, So my talk will be in two parts, two paragraphs. I will more insist on the general setting in the first part, general setting of information theory on Lie groups. And then I will explain Euler-Arnold equation on compact semi-simple Lie algebra. Okay, so we consider a sample manifold admitting a smooth action of a Lie group. And given a family of probability density function on the sample manifold, which is invariant under the action of a Lie group, then the Lie group can be regarded as the parameter space of the statistical model. Such a statistical model has been studied by Barndorf, Nielsen, and his co-authors, and they call at that time these models as transformation models. In the classical textbook Amari Nagaoka, such statistical models are also mentioned and analogues of the Fisher-Rao metric and the Amari-Shentsov cubic center are considered with further perspectives of study. Okay, so assume that we have M, a compact smooth manifold, and J, a Lie group acting smoothly on M from the left. We assume that M is endowed with an invariant volume element, which is denoted d vol M, so invariant with respect to the J action. So we consider a probability density function, rho, which is defined on the product J cross M with real values. It is, if you prefer, defined on M and parameterized by elements in J. So we assume that rho Jx is positive strictly for all Jx in the product J cross M. And we assume that they are probability measures, so that the integral for all J, the integral over M of rho Jx d volume of Mx is equal to 1 for any J. Now we assume furthermore that the probability density function is rho invariant in this sense. Rho acting on JH, the product JH, comma X, is rho J acting on H, rho of J, sorry, of an H acting on X. Okay. Then for all X in the Lie algebra, we have the induced vector fields on M, which is defined by this usually with the exponential metric, with the exponential map. And here in this context, given as we have the density probability, given a smooth function on M, we consider we are especially interested in the expectation of F with respect to rho, which is given by this formula. Okay, this is a smooth functions in J, and in particular from the condition 1 of the previous slides, we have that the average value of averaging or expectation of 1 of the constant function equal to 1 is equal to 1. For all X in the Lie algebra, we have this action on of the vector field, the induced vector field on M, on the rho density, which is given by this, and by invariance property, it is minus XL acting on rho of Jx. This is the left invariant vector field on J, which is induced by the element of the Lie algebra. Okay, so where should I go? So I don't understand. Yes. Okay, so this yields this formula, the averaging of xm acting on log of rho. I can take the log because I have assumed that rho is strictly positive. Then you see that using the invariance property, we find that this is equal to 0. So this is the first important formula. And then next, similarly, if we consider this, once again, I don't explain all in the details because, by the way, I will give you my notes. They will be sent by the seminar. And we obtain that, in fact, this averaging quantity plus this one is equal to 0. So this is actually, this has to be understood as averaging of this is equal to minus the averaging of this. And the following proposition, we come to the following proposition, which is the most important part of my talk now. Was already pointed out in Amari Nagaoka. So the integral average of xm log rho, xym log rho is constant for all elements when J varies in the Lie group. And this can be proved by a straightforward computation that you can follow, you can see in this slide. And using the previous formula, this can also be considered as this quantity. Okay. And so we come to this definition of the Fisher-Rao bilinear form on the Lie algebra. It is induced in the Lie algebra for this family of probability density functions. And this is defined by this averaging or averaged quantity. And you see that it is, of course, symmetric. So in general, it is only semi-definite, but of course, in the most important cases, this will be positive definite. Okay. So we often deal with the Fisher-Rao.
Let me make a comment
Yes.
here.
Yes.
The metric is only, how to say, non-negative definite. That means that's a greater or equal 0, and if strictly greater than equal 0, if you consider, how to say, the model is a 1-to-1 or locally is, you can say, because everything locally that's like a immersion, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So what I said, so we often deal with this Fisher-Rao metric following the lines of Amari Nagaoka. By definition, it is left invariant and positive semi-definite bilinear form on the Lie algebra. Although the metric is not necessarily positive definite, we can define a Riemannian metric, for instance, on homogeneous space. Assuming that you have a Lie subgroup which preserves this Fisher-Rao metric, and that the restriction of the metric to the complement of the Lie algebra of the Lie subgroup is positive definite.
Let me interrupt you because that question is discussed by email. Yeah? So surely that's how to say. So on the one hand, you already discussed in the cases. Of course, there's a lot of left invariant metric, and killing metric is left and right invariant. So yes, that is the one thing. But another thing is not necessarily positive definite. So I would see that you give example when that's the action of the G on the manifold, and then you have the induced Fisher-Rao metric, which is not non-degenerate. So I really curious to see your example.
Okay, I will. It will come in the
later part.
later.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So assume that the sample manifold coincides with the parameter Lie group, and that a specific family of probability density functions is given. So in our construction, in fact, we try to define a class of Hamiltonian systems, which is a natural extension of the Toda lattice. The Toda lattice, open Toda lattice, or periodic Toda lattice are very important dynamical systems. And so we try to follow actually the setting which was first observed by Jürgen Moser about the Toda lattice, which is that it is an integrable system, but if you restrict it to the set of first integrals, then it is actually a gradient system. And this specific property was generalized in the setting of double bracket equation for optimization problems. And I refer to a series of very interesting articles by Bloch, Anthony Bloch, Roger Brocket, and Tudor Ratiu, and also not written here, but Hermann Flaschka also contributed to this to the analysis of these systems. And so we will focus on an example where we use as probability density function the objective functions, so-called objective functions. I said that you have a gradient in restriction to the level sets of first integrals, and the gradient of the function of some function. This function is called the objective function in Bloch bracket Ratiu. Okay, so it is shown that the Fisher-Rao metric is induced on an adjoint orbit, and as a main result, we can look at the geodesic flow with respect to this Fisher-Rao metric and derive the Euler-Poincaré reduction. And we do it, and it is quite similar to the double bracket equation, and also with Euler-Arnold equations for generalized free rigid bodies. And there is a famous work in the 1978 by Mishenko and Fomenko of classification that you know certainly, Van, natural generalization of free rigid bodies. So our system should be compared also to this kind of path. Okay, let me stop at this point with information geometry and Lie groups, and let me focus on a setting where we have a compact semi-simple Lie algebra, which is the most general, most natural setting, and the Euler-Arnold equation. So once again, we consider the case where the parameter Lie group and the sample manifold is a compact semi-simple Lie group, J. So we have the Killing form. So in that case, it is negative definite, or we can take minus the Killing form, and it is positive definite. And this will be the art of our family of examples. You think to this, especially this case. Now about the counterexamples. In fact, we have to go back to this kind of theorem, which says that either it is depending on the definition, unfortunately, but as you recalled in before the beginning of this talk. In fact, it is we have really positive definite metric in the case of semi-simple Lie groups, or actually in another definition of reducive Lie group. So this gives, of course, a lot of examples, but mostly we are not interested in these general cases. We like to focus on this type of situation. So we concentrate ourselves to the specific family of probability density functions. So this is the row. So now we are in the special situation where M is equal to J. Huh? So in fact, this is the function. So to a couple of elements, JH on J, you associate a constant times exponential of f of JH. So where this function f defined on J is the Killing metric of Q adjoint theta of n with Q and n fixed element in the Lie algebra. Actually, we will take it in the Cartan algebra. In the most I will be more precise. You have an independent constant C, but we choose it so that this integral is equal to 1. And the volume form is the R measure on J. So this function f was studied before by Bloch, Brocket, and Ratiu to investigate the generalized total lattice equation and its expression in the Brocket double bracket equation, shown, for instance, for the generalized total lattice equation. So in their work, they were mainly concerned in a generalization of total lattice. You know that, in fact, you have a total lattice associated to a very semi-simple Lie algebra. And that the usual one is correspond to SLN. Okay, and here in our contribution, we consider the information geometry. So in relation to the probability arising from the same function, which is the objective function of Bloch, Brocket, Ratiu. Okay, so for above specific family of how much time do I have? In fact, I am more or less at half of. Okay, I think I have enough time. Yes.
Yeah.
So for the above specific family of probability density functions, we can compute the Fisher-Rao bilinear form on J, and it has this special form. So the bracket, this Fisher-Rao bilinear form is minus C. C is this constant that we have, we keep in the equations, and the Killing form of the bracket XQ and Y n prime. So I remember that Q and N are fixed, and N prime here is derived from this computation. Okay, and so let me insist a little bit more on this n prime. So in fact, in order to the scalar product to be symmetric, in fact, we need to to choose, this is not always true. So we need to choose Q and N in such a way that this is symmetric, that this XY is symmetric. And in fact, the good assumption is to assume that N prime and Q belong to a Cartan subalgebra, and they are regular elements. So by the decomposition of quasi-invariant measures, we can rewrite this N prime. It is given by what is called an orbital integral.
Jean-Pierre,
Yes.
I missed the definition of quasi-invariance. So invariance, okay, but quasi, that means you multiply by some
it's factor, yes.
factor, yeah. So that's in terms of the Lie algebra theory, they call this the half invariant, yes.
Okay.
But, yeah, in that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so in fact, we can take a Cartan subgroup H, whose Lie algebra is this one. So the Fisher-Rao bilinear form is invariant with respect to the adjoint action. And hence, it induces a Fisher-Rao Riemannian metric on the adjoint orbit, which is the ratio J over H. Okay, now we can consider the geodesic flow. And this geodesic flow can be formulated in the framework of Euler-Poincaré reduction. And this is the Hamiltonian function, of course. And we find that it has this form. And so we can write the Euler-Poincaré equation for this geodesic flow with respect to the Fisher-Rao Riemannian metric. And we obtain this equation, x dot is C bracket of x with the bracket of x q with n prime. And this is a quite similar equation that was obtained by Brocket and called the double bracket equation.
Jean-Pierre, I interrupt you again. Yes. Now you first say about the Fisher-Rao bilinear form is semi-definite, yeah. But then you take a quotient out and you say that on the adjoint orbit is a Riemannian matrix. That means non-degenerate. That means the source of the degeneracy came only from the H. What is that? You say that's the Fisher bilinear form, yeah, invariant.
Yes.
So, but at the beginning, you say that it can be degenerate, but that after the quotient now, you have, that means that's the source of the, how to say, the Kernan of this form is lying in the Cartan algebra, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so note that the right-hand side of this equation is nothing else, of course, than nabla x, where nabla is the Levi-Civita connection. Okay, so in fact, I realize that I've spoken very fast, and maybe I am almost at the level now of perspectives and conclusions. So I hope it's okay. Sorry, I have been a little bit quick. So what we would like is to put several perspectives around the above Euler-Poincaré equation, and that we like to study in future works. Okay. So the equation of, our main theorem is this one. And in fact, the equation of the theorem one has similar expression to the bracket double bracket equation discussed, for instance, for example, by Bloch, Brocket, and Ratiu. And actually, we are not sure that they will define an integrable system. So we have many examples where it is so, but in fact, it is not always integrable. So, of course, it is of interest to find specific conditions when this equation is restricted to a special orbit in the Lie algebra. And we have examples, of course, where it is so, but we would like to push the analysis to decide when it is integrable or not. Now there is also a similarity with what I said already, with Euler-Arnold equation for generalized free rigid body dynamics, like they were studied systematically in Mishenko-Fomenko in 1978. But they are not exactly of the same class. So this provides perhaps interesting new integrable systems. Okay. And so maybe I would like to finish my talk by some references. So this is a very important reference, historic, about information geometry, Amari. Actually, I did not put here the other Amari, the other book, Amari Nagaoka, but it should be quoted also here. And I have quoted the book by Jürgen Jost, Ang Wang Lee, Schoffer Lawrence, which is a very, very interesting book, in particular in relation with all the many subjects which are related to information geometry. This is the article of one of the articles of Anthony Bloch, Roger Broquet, and Tudor Ratiu in Communication in Mathematical Physics. They have written several articles, but this is the first one. And this is an historical article by Jürgen Moser. As I said, Jürgen Moser already noticed for the open Toda lattice that you have a gradient dynamic and some gradient function. And in fact, this article was at the beginning of the contribution of Yoshimasa Nakamura. In fact, use explicitly an equation of Jürgen Moser and shows that this equation is of the same type as the equation of an information geometry related to symmetric positive definite matrices, which was discussed in Amari, by the way. And then actually, so he wrote, Nakamura wrote several articles. I just quote these two here, where there is this really very striking situation and contribution, where in fact you not only consider the finite Toda molecule, but in fact you vary, you put in a hierarchy actually of integrable dynamics all the Toda lattice for any dimension, and you vary the number of particles. And this is in this setting where you need actually to use deep analysis like Hamburger techniques and moment problems that they discover the property, the definition, the good definition of the tau functions, and they prove that it is also positive. So this is the type of situation that we would like to find in different for our different systems. In the example of the Picon model, actually, the equation that I found is quite similar to the one of Nakamura, but the example, I used another type of information geometry. It is information geometry on a finite set, and I used a lot of presentation of this very nice example of information geometry in the book of Wangley and Jürgen Lust and co-workers. Okay, so I believe it is end of my talk. I'm a bit in advance. I am sorry. I should have been less quick, but I hope that you have been interested, and maybe we can go to some questions.
So
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jean-Pierre, for your
Okay, thank you.
So actually, I have the one comment and one question.
Yes,
I am still like a stubborn. Yeah, can you show me the your statement on the reduction of the Fisher-Rao metric on the coaxial orbit is non-degenerated? Can you show me the slide? When you say that when you take on the quotient of coaxial orbit, you got the non-degenerated, yeah, metric. Yeah, you have theorem that you consider that on the quotient of the chip per h is a h is a Cartan, how to say, torus, yeah. And you say that's a quotient on its on the metric on the
assume that Q and N prime and N prime.
And you can say the compact semi-simple Lie group. And I just want to show you that from that thing I can give you some another how to say accession theorem. I have a theorem now, but you say that maybe it's the later one. You say that in the next side you have the metric induced on the coaxial orbit. Do you have the coaxial orbit?
Yes.
Yes. Can you show me the side and you outside and you write the
I think the best
G
formula
over H. G over H is the coaxial orbit, right? Where is the base of it? G over A. I forgot.
I am not sure it is clearly.
I think she's talking about the slides later.
Sorry, Daisuke, you said?
It should be the slides just after this one, or the next slide. The next slide, I think. No. Yes,
here.
here.
No?
Yes. So now I tell them my theorem following: if the metric, some symmetric bilinear form induced on the metric because everything is invariant, right? On the outside bit is a non-degenerator for any h. Then it's a non-degenerator on G. Because in that case, first you say that the sock on non-degeneracy is lying in Cartan subalgebra, right? But if you say that's correct for any subalgebra, then because on subalgebra is a conjugate in the if G is the compactly algebra, right? So that means that it doesn't have any non-degeneracy. That's my theorem.
Yes.
Do you agree? My theorem is following. If you have the a symmetric bilinear form on G,
yes,
and then for any H, you take the quotient, and the metric is a non-degenerator. Then I claim that's a matrix. That's a matrix because first we have only symmetric bilinear form. Symmetric bilinear form defined on G is also non-degenerate. Proof by the construction, the source of non-degeneracy lie only in Cartan subalgebra, because on the Cartan subalgebra are conjugate.
Yes.
Then therefore, that means that if it's non-degenerate, it's degenerate somewhere, that degenerate everywhere.
Yes,
and
yes.
Therefore, yeah. So that theorem, then using this theorem, I cannot get any how to say example of the degenerate bilinear form of Fisher metric. Yeah. So that's that is my remark. That's if you consider only this case, you don't have any example of degeneracy Fisher round metrics. That's I'm very how to say curious because I know Fisher metric quite well. Okay, so that is one thing. Maybe you can discuss later because maybe you have the example for another group, or maybe you can object me. That's I have some incorrect argument.
No, I think it's I follow you. If we assume that we have a Cartan subgroup.
Yeah. So that's you only fix one Cartan subgroup, right? So that's patient, and not you statement is not for any Cartan subgroup.
Yes, it should work for any Cartan subgroup.
So I mean that's why, because if on Cartan subgroups they are conjugate, so that means that if bilinear form is the degeneracy in some
May I put some comments? Probably it's
yeah.
Okay, yes.
So in fact, it is right that if you think about compact Lie algebra, then all the Cartan algebra are conjugate with respect to certain adjoint action. But since our Fisher semi-definite metric is not bi-invariant, but just left invariant.
Okay. So thank you.
Maybe I would like to ask this equation 7 is nothing but the Levi-Civita of XX, Levi-Civita correction for a killing, for the killing metric is meant, or for a Rao metric.
This is yes. This is this. You mean yes?
Yeah. For killing, for the killing metric. On G.
I'm not sure to understand your question.
So the Levi-Civita correction is you mean Riemannian connection or Levi-Civita of embedded some embedded surface. Riemannian connection is usually for metric taken and for some non-degenerate bilinear symmetric form.
Here
and it can be in this case this Rao restricted to this or more by considered on a G over H, but it can be killing considered on a G over H. Yeah, it should be also possible.
Perhaps, but I am not completely sure to understand.
In fact, if you choose the killing form as a metric, then you have actually 0 on the right-hand side of the equation 7. But here we have chosen the Fisher-Arrow metric, which is just left invariant, which will give certain non-trivial term in this equation. And actually, so this equation can be regarded, of course, a geodesic flow equation. But normally the geodesic flow equation is a second order ODE. But here we are just looking at the actually the certain kind of reformulation of the geodesic flow equation in the first order equation framework. And actually this Euler-Poincare reduction describes just one part of this first order ODE, and there remains actually one other part which is not written here, but this other part is just a first order ODE on the Lie group itself, and this can be solved by solving this equation 7. So just because of the symmetry of the whole system, the main point is just to think about this equation 7, and the other things are just easy to understand.
Okay.
Thanks. And actually, I missed the assumption really of this of the sentence on this slide. In the sense, G is semi-simple, or G is compact, or G is both. So, what is the assumption saying? Also mentioned by Ms. Lai, that you get really a metric on the orbit space or on G over H. So G was supposed to be compact, and they are really, or cartons are conjugated.
Yes.
G is compact.
Yes. So such is it may be reductive, right? And not necessarily semi-simple, right? But
so
you caution out the
I
sub-algebra, and therefore that is the only, how to say, what is important, only semi-simple part, yeah.
Yeah, but in semi-simple, the cartons are, as mentioned, not conjugated, so the orbit space can changes. Yes.
No, the thing, how to say, he consider the metric is only left invariant node, left and right. As therefore, you cannot take the conjugation. Yeah, you see.
Now, then, nevertheless, in semi-simple, non-compact groups, real groups, the cartons are not necessarily conjugated. Yeah.
No. The thing is how to say on the any semi-simple compact. Of course, if you consider compact, then everything is conjugated. Compact. Yes, compact. Everything conjugate. Semi-simple is not necessarily actually that you should have the proof in only the proof, but maybe in the next this month you should keep preparing how to describe the conjugation of the cartan algebra using Galois cohomology. So that we have formula, but the preparing is 150 pages, so we cannot finish. But so we have formula for conjugation of cartan subalgebra in the even more general case on these semi-simple, but even kind of graded Lie algebra. Yeah. So the thing is not correct if you remove the compactness, because you consider real situation. If consider the complex situation, then you have the only one conjugacy class. In the real situation, that thing is much more complicated. Yeah. Yeah, but here's the author. That means Professor Jean-Pierre François and Professor Terama Daisuke consider only compact semi-simple. So what is the why do you need the compactness? Yeah, can you explain us, Jean-Pierre? Why do you need the compactness?
Well, in many in many settings, in fact, so what you mean that if it is not compact, then we may have
You don't have a Riemann
Lorentzian.
metric. You have only Lorentz metric, right? Lorentzian, because how to say? Yes, I think that's depend on the metric. Is an if the you want to have the positive definite metric, then you should take the compactness, yeah, because otherwise,
Yes,
that's the form. Okay.
But in fact, the assumption that the group is compact is coming from the assumption that we can define certain probability density function by this specific choice of rho. In fact, if you go back to the definition of our rho with that function f, capital F,
here it is. Yes.
it is not guaranteed a priori that the integral, I mean, this condition, the integral of rho over g is just one.
Yes. So
It could be certain non-integrable function. So to eliminate this kind of stupid possibility, we just need to put this compactness condition. Otherwise, it cannot work within the frame of Fischer-Rho.
Yeah.
Okay.
Setting.
So is there more question? If not, let us thank the speaker again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.